Well, hi, BookTube. Bill Ruttenberg here with the Roosevelts Library. I want to come to you today with a book haul. As I had talked about in my last video, my wife and my youngest daughter recently went on a trip out to Colorado together to go see my sister-in-law. And while they were out there, they've been gone for 3 weeks. Okay, they took a long trip and we're enjoying time out there. And while they were out there, my wife, I love her to death and she knows me well. So she stopped at a couple of bookstores. Actually, she stopped at 3 different bookstores that I know of. Stopped at Barnes & Noble, didn't get anything for me. She was looking for a certain magazine. Anyway, she stopped at Second and Charles in Denver, and then she stopped at this other bookstore in Boulder, Colorado. Now, I can't remember what the exact name of that bookstore was, but she stopped there. So what I wanted to show you was the 4 books that she brought me home. And then when she got home on Saturday night, on Sunday, we went to St. Joe to, I don't know, celebrate her coming back, but more probably to fill the refrigerator up because Bachelor Bill didn't do a very good job, I guess, of keeping it full. You bachelors out there might understand what I was going through there. I'm not feeding an army. It was just me. I know what I like. I only get certain items. My wife knows better. So anyway, while we were out, we made a quick stop at the Jesse James Antique Mall, and they've got a couple of book booths in there that I like to go through. They always got some good selections. So anyway, without further ado, let's go ahead and show you the titles that I was able to pick up. So these were from my wife when she went to Colorado. So the first one here is Roosevelts Secret War, FDR and World War II Espionage by Joseph E. Persisco. And I was not familiar with this one. This is a new one here. Now, I got a little bit of the edges there are pretty rough. I think I'm going to, there's a little bit of separation with the cover there. I'm going to put some book tape, I think, on the binding here just to make sure it doesn't fall apart on me. They did, here is the Boulder Bookstore, independent since 1973. And so, yeah, that is a bookmark from there. And this particular book is Random House trade paperbacks from New York, and this book is this edition is 2002. I think it was originally 2001, but this is a 2002 book. So it says, I'll read the back side to you. It says, by temperament and character, no American president was better suited for secret warfare than FDR. He manipulated, compartmentalized, disassembled, and misled, demonstrating a spy master's talent for intrigue. Not only did Roosevelt create America's first Central Intelligence Agency, the OSS, under Wild Bill Donovan, but he ran spy rings directly from the Oval Office, enlisting well-placed socialite friends. Roosevelts Secret War describes how much FDR knew from intelligence sources before the Holocaust about the coming fate of Europe's Jews. And Joseph Persisco also provides a definitive answer to a perennial question: did FDR know in advance of the attack on Pearl Harbor? FDR was also spied against. This book presents evidence that the Soviet Union had a source inside the Roosevelt White House, that British agents fed FDR total fabrications to draw the United States into the war, and that Roosevelt, by yielding to Churchill's demand that British scientists be allowed to work on the Manhattan Project, enabled the secrets of the bomb to be stolen. And these are only a few of the scores of revelations in this constantly surprising story of Roosevelt's hidden role in World War II. So, thought that sounded just absolutely awesome. Nothing like a little bit of espionage to get your day going. So the next one that was able to get, and this one's in really good shape, a little bit of yellowing of the pages, but the book itself is in top-notch shape. This is Glorious War, The Civil War Adventures of George Armstrong Custer by Tom Hatch. And there's that book. I don't have a lot of stuff on Custer in the Civil War. I have, in the last couple of years, my good friend Todd from Todd's Bursting Bookcase up in Minnesota, he sent me books through the mail as he was culling his library. And one of the genres that he sent me, he had a lot of stuff on, was Custer and Custer's Last Stand. So I got a lot of books on that particular era of Custer's life, but I don't have a ton on his Civil War. I'll have to look. I can't remember if Todd sent me stuff on his Civil War years, but this might be my first one on Custer's Civil War years. I know some of the stuff he did, but I don't have a full understanding of it. And this is from St. Martin's Griffin from New York, and it is a 2013 book, 2013. So I'll read the back cover for you here. This thrilling and definitive biography of George Armstrong Custer's Civil War years is nothing short of a heart-pounding cavalry charge through the battlefield heroics that thrust the gallant young officer into national spotlight in the midst of the country's darkest hours. From West Point to the daring actions that propelled him to the rank of general at age 23, to his unlikely romance with Libby Bacon, Custer's exploits are the stuff of legend. Always leading his men from the front with a personal courage seldom seen before or since, he was a key part of nearly every major engagement in the East. Not only did Custer capture the first battle flag taken by the Union and receive the white flag of surrender at Appomattox, his field generalship at Gettysburg against the Confederate cavalry General Jeb Stuart had historic implications in changing the course of the pivotal battle. For decades, historians have looked at Custer strictly through the lens of his death on the frontier, casting him as a failure. While some may say that the events that took place at Little Bighorn are illustrative of America's bloody westward expansion, they have in the process unjustly eclipsed Custer's otherwise extraordinary life and outstanding career and fall far short of encompassing his incredible service to his country. This biography of thundering cannons, pounding hooves, and stunning successes tells the true story of the origins of one of history's most dynamic and misunderstood figures. Award-winning historian Tom Hatch re-examines Custer's early career to rebalance the scales and show why Custer's epic fall could never have happened without the spectacular rise that made him an American legend. And of course, he gets the nickname when at Custer's Luck, I think, or something like that, where he's always doing stuff in battle that he should have been killed, and he never comes up dead till, of course, that very last time. Never say never, but Custer's Luck, that charge, he had that point at Gettysburg where he took the Union cavalry on it'd be the Union right flank. The Confederates were trying to flank him, and he was outnumbered 10-1 and took his cavalry head first on a charge right into the Confederate cavalry and stopped them dead in their tracks. And some would argue that saved the day at Gettysburg. He did things like that numerous times, and it's just a miracle he lived long enough to even get to the last stand with the Native Americans. Anyway, so the next two books, they go with my favorite topic of all time in history, my man Abraham Lincoln. And so this next one is Lincoln on Lincoln, edited by Paul M. Zoll. And I think it's exactly what it says. No need to try to read anything. It is Lincoln on Lincoln. So pieces of Lincoln's writings. So this is from the University Press of Kentucky, and it is a 1999 book, but it's pretty short. Just under 175 pages, and so it'll be a fairly quick read. I will enjoy looking through that. The next one that she brought home from Colorado was Mrs. Lincoln and Mrs. Keckley, the remarkable story of the friendship between a first lady and a former slave, by Jennifer Fleshner, I think is maybe how you say her name, or Fleshner. But there's that book. And I've always wanted to get Elizabeth Keckley's biography, or not biography, autobiography on her years in the White House. I always thought that that would be a very good look at what life was like with old Mary Lincoln. And I haven't been able to do that yet. This comes from Broadway Books out of New York, and it's a 2003 printing. So I'll read the backside. The printing on the cover is a little bit blurry, so you have to excuse me here. So it says, "I consider you my best living friend," Mary Lincoln wrote to Elizabeth Keckley in 1867. And indeed, theirs was a close, if tumultuous, relationship. Born into slavery, mulatto Elizabeth Keckley was Mary Lincoln's dressmaker, confidant, and mainstay during the difficult years that the Lincolns occupied the White House. But she was a fascinating woman in her own right, independent and well-established as the dressmaker to the Washington elite when she was first hired by Mary Lincoln upon her arrival in the nation's capital. In a vibrant social history set against the backdrop of the antebellum South in the Civil War, pioneering historian Jennifer Fleshner allows us to glimpse the intimate dynamics of this unusual friendship for the first time and traces the pivotal events that enabled these two women, one born to be a mistress, the other to be a slave, to forge such an unlikely bond at a time when relations between blacks and whites were tearing the nation apart. A remarkable, riveting work of scholarship that reveals the legacy of slavery and sheds a new light on the Lincoln White House. Mrs. Lincoln and Mrs. Keckley brings to life a mesmerizing, intimate aspect of Civil War history and underscores the inseparability of black and white in our nation's heritage. And so it says that Jennifer Fleshner, the author of the book, PhD, so she's the author of Mastering Slavery, Memory, Family, and Identity in Women's Slave Narratives. She's the recipient of a one-year Mellon Faculty Fellowship in Afro-American Studies at Harvard, and she is currently the chair of the English department at Adelphi University. And so I might have to look for that Mastering Slavery, Memory, Family, and Identity in Women's Slave Narratives. That sounds like that might be interesting. So anyway, looking forward to that. Always good to get a piece of Lincoln history, whether it's Abraham Lincoln himself or his wife Mary, who was, to say that you're a friend of Mary, you've got some patience, because she was a piece of work sometimes. Now, yesterday, as I said, we went to St. Joe and went to do a little bit of shopping, fill up the refrigerator a little bit, and then we went to pick up a couple of other items. But while we were out, on the way home, we stopped at Books Revisited, and I can almost always guarantee I can find something at Books Revisited. I thoroughly enjoy the antique mall that they've got there. Did I say Books Revisited? Not Books Revisited. Jesse James Antique Mall, excuse me. Didn't get to go to Books Revisited. It was closed on Sunday. So anyway, so we went and I found 4 more books. Now these, I'll try to be a little bit quicker with these so this video doesn't last forever. But the first one is, as you guys know, if you've been following the channel, I've been buying up the James Bond books as I find them. And I like, for whatever reason, I like this particular cover. Now, I have thought about getting a newer version of reprints of the James Bond books. There's a black and white cover that they do on, and I cannot remember the publisher, but they've got the whole set printed. And I may end up just buying that and replacing this. But I do like the vintage cover. Now, this one is For Your Eyes Only. It is a signet book. And it is from this was printed in 1960. And I thought, yes, awesome, another one to add to that collection. I think there's 13 overall. And guess what? I got home. I already have this one, so that was a probably a not smart purchase, but that's okay. I'll compare the two copies, and then I'll donate the one that is in the worst shape. So anyway, the next one, and this next book, I want to thank Sean D. Standfast over at his channel. If you follow him, he has got so many videos that he's been putting out in the last several months here. Been doing an awesome job. And one of them that he does is a, what does he call that series? The sci-fi quickies, I think, or whatever. And he's been introducing science fiction books, paperbacks, and one of the big name authors that he just continually puts up titles is A.E. Van Vogt, and hopefully I said that right. But I've been trying to expand my reading, and I've been picking up, like I've picked up some Westerns. I've picked up just some newer genres that I don't read a ton of, and science fiction is one of those areas that I've dipped my toe into. And yesterday I found an A.E. Van Vogt, and this one is More Than Superhuman. More Than Superhuman. I've never read this. I've never read this author either, but because of Sean D. Standfast, I trust him. He has always got wonderful things to say about this author, and he's always presenting his books on his channel. So I picked this book up. It, as you can see, it's just a normal slim paperback, and it is a Dell book from 1971. This is a 1971 printing, and it says, "Him. Research Alpha. Humans go home. Laugh, clone, laugh. All the loving androids." So 3 superlative short novels and 2 brilliantly crafted stories that bring you face to face with a strange future when men and women must meet and conquer or be destroyed by creatures who are more than superhuman. 5 dazzling triumphs of science fiction. 5 enthralling flights of the imagination that vividly demonstrate why A.E. Van Vogt is ranked as one of the 3 or 4 greatest writers of the world of tomorrow in the world of today. And so I have another one that I got with a different book haul by him, and I'll have to figure out which one to read first. But Sean Standfast, is this a good one? Please let me know. Now, 2 books left. This first one, if you follow Peg at the History Shelf, she loves Osprey Books. And when I was there yesterday, I found a whole, 5 or 6 Osprey titles. And if you're not familiar with them, the Osprey titles are all, real thin books, but they're short histories, very compact histories of different topics in military history. And she's kind of gotten me on a kick on picking those up when I see them. Well, I left the 5 or 6 that I saw, and I got this one instead, and it's a lot like the Osprey books. It's very, very similar, and I don't know the history of this line of books, so maybe there's a connection. I don't know. It's Heroes and Warriors. This one's on Charlemagne, the founder of the Holy Roman Empire. And the main reason I picked this one up is because this is what we're covering in class. Right now we're covering Charlemagne in my world history class. And so it's got a lot of black and white, like regular photos and then drawings and stuff that you would see. And it's got a whole bunch of, some good text in it about Charlemagne. It has 4 original color photos. This one's a little bit gruesome. A beheading that was ordered, but original artwork. It's a lot like the Osprey books, and like I said, there might be a connection, and I just don't know it. But was happy to pick that up and add that to the collection. And finally, maybe the prize of the whole video. This is Looking for Lincoln: The Making of an American Icon by Philip Coonhart III, Peter Coonhart, and Peter Coonhart Jr. I'm really looking forward to this. I love Lincoln stuff, as you know. And there's his death mask. This has got some French flaps. That's kind of neat. This is a heavy, heavy duty book. It's a coffee table type book, heavy duty, full of pictures. There's some there. Just kind of flip through. You'll get the general idea. Classic coffee table book on Lincoln. Very excited to have this. I have another one somewhere around here. It's probably upstairs, I imagine. That's by Philip Kuhnhart. And then I've got some other ones that are Civil War stuff by Philip Kuhnhart. But this is just going to be a great addition to my Lincoln collection. One of these days, I'm going to have to do a recount and see how many books I have on Lincoln. We already know it's well over 100. It might be near the 150 mark right now, but I haven't been doing a current count. I need to. But anyway, I'm rambling. So these are my new books that I've picked up via my wife from Colorado and then our trip to St. Joe to refill the fridge. And instead, I refilled my bookshelf. Well, it never emptied. Never mind. Anyway, I hope you are having a great day. I hope everyone is staying safe, getting some reading done. And until next time, BookTube, happy reading.